Hi, my name is Peter Sagal, and I'm going to explain how to play poetry for Neanderthals. Now, right off the bat, let's make it clear we're not going to go with a more pretentious correct pronunciation of Neanderthal. We're not that kind of people. We're the kind of people who play silly games with an inflatable plastic club. The goal of this game is for your team to score more points than the other team by correctly guessing words and phrases. But there's a catch. Of course there's a catch, otherwise you'd be playing a game called talking. You are a Neanderthal, and as was historically the case, that means you can only speak using words with one syllable. That's just science. To get started, form two teams and sit around at the table in alternating positions. Pick a team to go first and a player on that team to be the first Neanderthal poet. Give the no stick to a player from the opposing team that's sitting right next to the poet. You want them seating right next to the poet to avoid what we in the gaming industry call collateral damage. Set up the table like this. To begin the game, the poet takes the top poetry card from the pile, and the other team starts the timer. The poet's job is to get the rest of their team to guess either the 1-point word, which is easier, or the 3-point word, which is harder, but they can only speak using one-syllable words. For example, if I was trying to get my team to guess the word octopus, I might say, "This thing live in sea, has 8 leg and big, soft head." Make sure you do the Neanderthal accent, otherwise no one will take you seriously. Everyone on my team can now shout out as many guesses as they would like before the timer runs out. Here are the rules about what you are and are not allowed to say. As the poet, you are allowed to say any word you like as long as it is just one syllable. For example, I just broke the rules by saying aloud and syllable. You are also allowed to say any word in your card regardless of how many syllables it has after someone on your team has said it out loud. You are not allowed to make gestures. You are not allowed to use sounds like or rhymes with, even though those words just have one syllable. You are not allowed to use initials or abbreviations. You are not allowed to speak in another language. Capiche? You are not allowed to cheat. If it feels like cheating, it's cheating. Now, let's talk about your score. If you start with the 1-point word when your team correctly guesses it, shout yes, that's one syllable, and put the poetry card down in the 1-point slot on your team's point slate. If instead you decide to start with the 3-point phrase and your team guesses it correctly, shout yes. It's the same word, we couldn't think of another one, and put the card on the 3-point spot on your team's point slate. If you break any of the rules as the poet, immediately put the card on the 1-point spot of the opposing team's point slate. This is true even if you've already earned points for the card in your hand. Breaking any of the rules means your opponents get a point for the card. If you want to skip the card in your hand and sacrifice a point, just say skip and put the card on the 1-point spot of the opposing team's point slate. If one of your team members' name is Skip, expect him to just look up as if you're talking to him. It might become annoying. After you put a card down on a point slate, draw another card and continue trying to earn points for as long as there's time left in the sand timer. If you break any of the rules, the player on the other team sitting next to you gets to hit you with the no stick. Gently-ish. When you get hit with the no stick, put the poetry card on the opposing team's 1-point spot and draw another card to continue. Then, grab the no stick from the opposing team member and beat him about the head and shoulders until he apologizes. Or don't. If you get hit and want to challenge it, shout, "Wait!" or maybe, "Wait, wait!" as a little tribute, and turn the timer on its side. Discuss the challenge with the group and figure out how you want to resolve it. Once you're out of time, your turn as the poet is over. Then it's the other team's turn, so pass the cards, point slates, and no stick to the next players around the table. The game ends once all players have had a turn as poet, or both teams have had the same number of turns. When that happens, add up the points on each of the team point slates. The team with the most points wins. Bet you didn't see that coming. One more really important thing. Speak in full sentences. I cannot stress this enough. You will do better if you try to speak in full sentences. If the word you're trying to get your team to say is brick, a lot of first-time players get so nervous about breaking the one-syllable rule that they speak like this. Red, square, hard, and then time's up. No, you're not playing password. Try speaking in slow, full sentences instead, and remember, use the Neanderthal accent for extra realism. This red square is good for build things. Small pig build house of this to keep wolf out. Okay, that's all you need to know. Go play now. Have big fun. Okay, actually the accent is more Cro-Magnon.